Meghan Markle and Prince Harry continue to engage in their habit of diverting attention to unrelated issues, but this time the repercussions seem significant. The media has relentlessly criticized the couple, and I'm here to provide you with a detailed update. Hello, friends. Welcome to the King YouTube channel. Last week, Harry and Meghan remained strangely silent when the African Park scandal came to light. However, they swiftly spoke out about children's online safety, diverting attention to another unrelated topic in the online sphere. Today, the couple faces severe criticism for once again jumping on a bandwagon. Respected British journalist and theater critic Quentin Letts articulates what many are thinking. He states that alongside the unfortunate droopy-tailed Harry, the Duchess is a follower of California psychobabble and embraces anxieties as social and political badges. Just look at me, I say. I'm sensitive. I'm not some ruthlessly ambitious multimillionaire West Coast actress cynically adopting stances for career advancement. I am genuinely humble, vulnerable, and sensitive. If you dare suggest otherwise, my attorneys will take action. If British politicians issued the kind of memetic press releases that Harry and Meghan do, they would be swiftly condemned for poor judgment and for exploiting others' suffering. The Sussexes may believe their press releases resonate with British tastes, but they are more likely seen as manipulative and opportunistic. Whoever writes them has the prose style of a teenage diarist. I'm confident that with greater awareness and visibility of mental health issues, we can effect significant change together. Awareness alone is not enough for anyone. Are there any truly engaged parents out there who aren't aware of the bullying and cyberbullying issues? It's a frequent topic of discussion among all the parents I know. Do the Sussexes live in a bubble? The fact that Meghan fails to address her own actions, such as paying for bots and using fake accounts to perpetuate cyberbullying, makes her statement all the more ironic and repugnant. If she were of school age, she'd likely be the first one expelled. Now yet, she somehow believes she's the lone savior by raising this issue as if for the first time. The reality is that parents are not clueless about cyberbullying. The problem is deeply complex, but lack of awareness is not the root cause. Meghan even engage in parenting. It seems she tries to make every trivial thing sound profound. She writes like a 12-year-old attempting a creative writing project. Using 6 adjectives where one would suffice, her writing is overly embellished, lacking clear structure and coherence. It overwhelms the reader with unnecessary details. Whenever I encounter her writing, my initial reaction is verbal diarrhea. She ought to address that issue as well. It's evident from her writing that Meghan Markle has never held a real job. She lacks understanding and a genuine workplace. Flowery language holds no value. My bosses only cared about the facts. Everything else was a waste of time for them and me. Y'all often reminds me of a timeless styling tip from Coco. Once you've put on all your accessories, take one off. Meghan needs to heed this advice, both with her excessive jewelry and her words. By the way, I hadn't heard of Meghan before the engagement. I never bothered to look her up. I couldn't care less. Then I stumbled upon a clip of the engagement interview. It was the part where she was clinging to his arm, gazing at him like a love-struck 12-year-old, and asked if he was kind, vomit-inducing. Later, I came across excerpts from some of her speeches. For a while, I thought there was something wrong with me. I read them multiple times and couldn't really grasp what she was trying to say. The first time someone mentioned word salad in relation to her, I felt relieved, thinking I hadn't suffered a stroke or early onset Alzheimer's. Then, after watching one of her interviews with Larry King, it hit me. She's the queen of buzzwords. She is interesting about 35 times in the interview and pretty much said nothing. It was interesting that after most of the men in a country were massacred by rebels, women ran for office. How can one find the tragedy of men being massacred merely interesting? Well, she's not just a buzzkill. She's the queen of buzzword salad, and don't even get me started on all those hand gestures she uses as if they'll help us understand what she's saying. It only highlights her flailing octopus arms and claw-like gestures. She barely had the skills to qualify for a minority place. Her lack of education is shocking for someone who attended private school and university. She received the same assistance at university as Harry did at Eton, while Harry used his family connections. Meghan played the race card, though she never lets anyone around her know that they're both quite similar in their educational background and limited knowledge. How they always jump on the bandwagon as if they're experts and the first to discover the issue. It's endlessly astonishing how nothing, not even failure or criticism, ever seems to deter them. Every move they've made since leaving the UK has been a disaster. Sadly, they always hop on the bandwagon incredibly late, which is embarrassing. I mean, come on, these various issues of concern have been discussed by actual experts and everyone else for years. If anyone isn't listening by now, they sure as hell aren't suddenly going to start just because Meghan Markle decides to chime in. They never lay out any meaningful action. It's just toxic positivity and meaningless slogans. Light in your truth just reinforces a victim mentality as some sort of noble persona. They don't know, haven't thought about it, and don't really care. It's just something to keep their faces in the news. In fact, they're always quick to spew verbal diarrhea about the latest bandwagon issue, but they never follow through with any action. All of this reveals their true motivation. And my team yet receive recognition as humanitarians without actually getting their hands dirty and doing the real work. They're like the epitome of failed social change. Their role isn't to actually make a difference. It's just to highlight the issues, watch others do the work, and then swoop in to take credit for the changes. Their actions don't really accomplish much. They just redistribute tiny amounts to real charities, then claim partnerships and take credit for the outcomes. Why bother giving to Arca Well when you could skip the middleman and donate directly to the charities they support? They're terrible at fundraising and philanthropy, especially when a lot of that money ends up being redirected into their other ventures like Doria's nursing home scam. They're just creating more tax shelters and charities in Delaware. They're nothing more than tax evading criminals. Not only that, but Meghan is hypocritical enough to ignore the vitriol spread by her supporters, claiming they're expressing their truth. She also emphasizes her role as a mother to shield her from harassment, lies, or cyberbullying. Conveniently, she turns a blind eye and deaf ear when her supporters make derogatory comments about others. Children can't expect logic or mercy from narcissists when you couple this eye-watering hypocrisy with preaching compassion and kindness while their own behavior has been so hateful to their own families. From the public and the media, whom they constantly sue and criticize, have endured years of their venomous rhetoric and lies about being mistreated. This understandably angers people, especially those who have experienced similar havoc in their own lives. I'll just say it. I hate them. There's nothing unchristian about this. As they say, hate the sin, not the sinner. So much philosophical discussion can be applied to this problem. I rely on my own feelings of fairness and goodness, my love for Queen Elizabeth, my hope for King Charles II, and my respect for William and Catherine, alongside my disgust for Harry and Meghan. It's hard to encapsulate in a short video, but there you have it. Gut feelings. Another issue is what exactly they gain by associating themselves with these virtuous causes. They believe that some hedge fund billionaire or movie producer mogul will donate $50 million to their foundation because they wore expensive clothes and spoke in vague terms about how we should all strive to do better. Seriously, what makes her the racist and expert in anything? What makes Meghan Markle a bit part TV actress, a humanitarian and expert? Why are they so pompous and arrogant? Why do they pretend that in America they're better than their fellow citizens? We are a democratic republic, so nobody cares about what they publish on their website regarding their personal views on societal issues. Moreover, Harry and Meghan know nothing about losing a child and shouldn't be giving empty advice about something they know nothing about. Yet that's all they do every day and twice on Sunday. It was vile when she told those grieving parents that being a mother was the most important thing to her. And then a ridiculous example about cars and seatbelts. She's a clueless fool and a disgusting user. When will someone, anyone, put a stop to this disturbing charade? This is what they do with every issue, act like the experts. When other people attend these types of events, they try to listen and learn. You could tell all she cared about that day was grabbing the microphone so everyone could see how good she looked in her inappropriate off-the-shoulder outfit with her nightclub hair and makeup. And I would like to know how much of their own personal money they donated to any charity or cause before trumpeting that they both are philanthropists. If she is posting puff pieces that they don't have money and she is hustling for jobs, how does she turn around and call herself a philanthropist? That is a blatant lie. Melinda Gates and Mackenzie Scott are both great philanthropists. They have money to actively give away. Meghan Markle is piling onto her in-laws and husband for her money is not worth much on her own. She used to live in a tiny apartment before getting married, had no steady job, lost all her lucrative contracts, peddles calming patches for a living, but bullshits about being philanthropic. They're still desperately trying to justify their decisions. They were so sure they could pull out on their own and show the royals how to do humanitarian service for fun and profit. Unfortunately, they've shown themselves to be too self-centered to be humanitarians and too inept for meaningful service. They do seem to be persistent. The whole thing is a mirage, a fake charity scam. Like many others, I keep waiting for a deep dive by someone into their finances. Maybe now that Arch has been described as a sinking ship, more will come out. They could start with which elephant sanctuary received the $3 million she promised after that awful voiceover. Where did that end up? In the Tillett Carolina Herrera? We know their press releases are manipulative and opportunistic. These two dimwits have shown what they really are about. It may have taken some people longer than others to see it, but America has had enough of their crap too. Even with Meghan's alleged experience, the media making her so-called suicidal, she hasn't mentioned how it's harmed her explicitly since Oprah and only vaguely in the cut can't still healing. What a shame. The incomparable Mr. Letts missed the opportunity to make an association between the Sussex compulsive bandwagoning via public statements on the RKL website and Meg Hall's PR trip to Uvalde. Quite possibly the most disgusting thing out of the many disgusting things that evil bitch has done. On the other hand, that's also Meghan's entire personality wrapped up in a bow. I mean, girl school, girl diarist. She never matured emotionally past the age of about 14, and it shows in just about everything she does. Very unsophisticated thinker and operator. It's another one of her pathological lies to stop criticism of her atrocious behavior. It's not me. It's the evil racist press and social media making things up because, see, I am a humanitarian. Everyone seemed to have had a gut full of being preached to by celebrities about kindness and compassion when their own behavior falls way short of the Mark Ellen, etc. And their nauseating preaching at the Oscars while turning a blind eye to Weinstein for decades. No one wants to listen to Harry and Meghan's bullshit about kindness after the extreme nastiness they've dished out on their own families. Moreover, the British stiff upper lip is a cliche, but this is a country that knows to carry on with actions rather than words. When Meghan and Harry do speak, it's about how they're feeling or thinking, and this self-importance translates into overblown prose and a royal color. Being a British prince wasn't satisfactory for Prince Harry. Now he's reaching to change himself into something like his wife, who is not just foreign to the UK, but pretty alien to much of the rest of the world. How many Americans and Californians don't see Meghan as a representative? She has united us in a collective feeling that she's someone we don't want to be like. That what she says never had a basis of sincerity to it or genuine depth of compassion or empathy. Everyone can see she doesn't care one bit about anyone. She's talking to veterans, grieving parents. It's all an act. She represents the worst of the attention-seeking woke virtue signaler by monetizing everything she does. But now the train has left the station. Mexi. Far too many people now see you for who and what you are. You cannot recover that which was given to you by the royal family, the family you trashed, ridiculed, and disrespected. The world has watched this closely. You stupidly believed in your silly and demented hubris that you had some type of amazing ability. The silly cartoon, she raw power to what did you possibly believe you are capable of doing? KC3 has years and years on you, achieving a network of powerful friends, statesmen and allies, the world over little old. You would never stand a chance against such a formidable force. And to much surprise, you've come to learn how much King Charles is really admired and liked, if not loved. You stupidly believed your dimwit husband's drivel, his defamatory rantings against his own father, spewed in his blind hatred and further colored by his demented, drug-addled brain. Shane left the station long ago, while your scratching and clawing of yesteryear resulted in opening certain doors. That was then, darling. Your old scratching and clawing methods have turned to pathetic whining and beseeching, resulting in mockery. You're now a caricature of yourself. As for Harry, It must be his version of a way of life. All he knew was to be the face of things and make some speeches. He didn't think about it any deeper than that. He's trying to carry on with the only thing he knows, but without all the brains behind the curtain, gray suits royal staff. He's failing miserably until the stupid step up and release a statement about Africa Parks. Nothing he says is worth a scintilla of our attention. No, make that until Prince Plank comes forward and makes a public personal statement, aligning himself with the Baker, people condemning the rangers involved and demanding they be punished for their actions. Nothing they say is worth a moment of our attention. Finally, so well written and covers all the bases. Criticize us and we'll sue, but we can say what we want, and calling her out for her atrocious writing. I'm sure that hit hard, as she obviously thinks. She's a truly gifted writer and orator. I can't even claim to have personal experience because their kids are too young to be on the internet, and Harry and Meghan themselves are too old. They didn't grow up with the internet and mobile phones of today. It's one mess. It just exposes them to further scrutiny for saying and doing nothing regarding the African Park scandal, of which Harry is a freaking board member. Children are being taught the correct way to do anything, and when it is appropriate to do so, short text to your buddy is fine. You can use social media shorthand all you want, but writing an essay for a grade requires proper spelling, punctuation, and grammar. It's the same thing with appearance. High-sweet clothing and makeup you wear to the club aren't appropriate for the office or school. But sadly, we don't teach this stuff anymore. They don't teach handwriting or cursive in school any longer. My oldest had a high school English teacher who was on a one-woman mission to save the art of handwriting. She required all papers to be handwritten in cursive. She had to have a cursive chart in her classroom for anything written in class with the exception of their name. Neither of my kids can read or write cursive, nor can they write well. Since padding was necessary, since word count was a requirement, a terrible way to teach writing, in my opinion. Our content will stop here. How do you feel about the rogue couple, Harry and Meghan? Let's discuss with others in the comments section. Don't hesitate to share this video of mine with everyone. And do you remember when I said that YouTube's algorithm likes videos with lots of interaction? Please lend a hand to help the King YouTube channel develop further. Thanks for watching. Goodbye and see you tomorrow.